I'm going to start this project off with a maple burl cap. So there's not much turning in this. It's a lot of carving, but the burl cap is about 9 inches in diameter and about 4 inches thick. So I just drilled a hole down through the center so I could get it on the worm screw. And what I'm going to do is just kind of give it a little bit of a shape to it and just get it trued up is basically all I'm doing. So I'm going to carve the octopus out of this, but I just kind of want to undercut for where the legs are going to be and take out a little bit of material where the head is going to go. So lathe speed's running maybe 1500 or so, and I'm using a bull gouge to get it trued up. And like I said, this is just a rough shape. It's not going to look like this at all when we're done. Just kind of messing around and just getting it trued up a little bit. The more I can kind of carve off at this point, the less carving and sanding I have to do later, but there's still going to be a lot. So on the back side, I took the #1 hollower and just cupped this out just a little bit. So this project took me quite a while because it's kind of hard bending over the lathe and carving and sanding. So I would come out and work on it for an hour or two and then take a break for a day or so, and then just come back to it. So once I got that done, I grabbed the Arbortech, the power carver there, and just started shaping it. So sorry, there's only, a couple angles on this, but it's, an hour at a time doing this. So it's just kind of, this is going to be the head right here. And I just keep working at it and bringing it down a little bit more, refining it a little bit more. And this just kind of goes on for a while. So the Arbortech is excellent for doing stuff like this. It is such a handy little tool. I put the little smaller carving attachment on it here in a while to do the little eyeballs on it too. So this is just the main, I think it's a 3 or 3.5 inch disc that goes on the cutter. So it works fantastic for this. And it's so easy to use. It really doesn't, catch or try and run on you or anything, and you can get pretty detailed with it. It's crazy. So this is the back of the head right here. So once I got it kind of shaped, I just grabbed 80 grit sandpaper, and I just keep refining it. So I'm not really sure why I even grabbed the sandpaper at this point. I just kind of wanted to see, get that basic shape down and see what it was going to look like. And then I go right back to the power carver and start working, shaping it more. And the main disc out there, that is going to be the legs, and I'll draw those out here in a minute and start working on those. So the head at this point is way too big, and that's one other thing. Robin and I kept talking about it. She kept coming in and looking at it, and so we kept bringing the actual head down a little bit because it looked too big for the legs. So we just kept shrinking it down until it looked good. Help support the companies that support our community. So we're back to the power carver now. So I'm refining a little bit more now. We can start to see the head kind of pop out of it. And like I said, this is just a slow process. I don't want to make it too big, too small. I can't put wood back on it. So I shaped it like 2 or 3 times and then sanded it a little bit and then kind of looked at it to see if it was too big, and I kept bringing it down until I got the final size. So this is the little attachment, and so I can refine around the head a little better with this. You can get undercut a little bit with it. So it works fantastic for doing like small little detail stuff. And then I went back to the 80 grit and then sanded that part down. And the 80 grit sandpaper actually, it takes a lot of material off pretty quick too. And I'm using the indexing system on the lathe too to hold it steady in place. And the reason I switch back between the hard pad and the soft one is the softer one wraps around a little better. So there's making the eyes on it. I just used that little tool and it worked perfect for doing the eyes. I'm drawing the legs out right here. And then we're going to use the little air saw to get a big portion of them out, and then we'll switch over to a rotary tool. So this is the little air saw I have, and it works fantastic for stuff like this too. You probably see me use this quite a bit. You can kind of, it's almost like a pen. You can kind of draw a little bit with it and get pretty detailed with it. And that's the back side of it. So I don't have any legs back there. And then I just start working my way around, shaping it. As long as they're not too close together, you can make that little corner and come out and just cut out the whole chunk of it. If they're close together, then you gotta go down and then come in on the other side. Now, once I had all those done, I grabbed the rotary tool. So this is for shaping. It's a great little tool. It's just a round rectangle bit on it. I'm not sure which one it is, but I use it quite a bit. So it's just kind of like a spiral, I guess, is what the blades on it are. And it works great for doing stuff like this. If you go with the grain, it cuts nice and smooth. If you go the other way, it tries to dig in a little bit. So it kind of, depending on how much material I was trying to take off and on which way I was going. But going with the grain, it makes a nice smooth cut. And I just kept working my way around, refining these two, bringing the thickness down, just kind of making sure they were shaped right and the size wasn't too big. Now once I had that done, we can take this off of here, unscrew it from the worm screw, and get rid of that bottom. I really have no way to get rid of it except for sanding it off. So I just put 80 grit on. It took me a little while, but I sanded that disc off the bottom of it with 80 grit sandpaper because I had no way to really hold on to it and carve it off. And the reason, normally when I do like a carving or something, I use the carving stand I have, but when you're using a worm screw, you can't, the carving stand isn't hollow in the center like the spindle on your lathe, so you can't screw it on there. That's why I left it on the lathe and did that. So I just put the sanding pad on the lathe and went and spent quite a bit of time sanding the bottom of that off. So I won't I'll spare you that. It was an hour or so it took me to sand it down. So I'm just finishing up the bottom of it here. So even with the 80 grit, it still took me, I don't know, probably almost an hour or so to sand that whole little disc off. So I'm just cleaning up the bottom of it. It's cupped out a little bit too because I undercut it. So when you set it down, it's going to stand up off the table or shelf. And then I moved on and hand sanded the rest of it. I went through and hand sanded through all the grits from 120 all the way up to 600. So this is kind of a long process too. I'd go through a grit, take a break, and just work my way up. Need to sand around all the legs, the head, the bottom, everything, and just work your way around it. And try not to break any of them off. For the finish, I used walnut oil and went ahead and just put it on, wiped it off with my hands. I blew all the dust off first and just coated everything down. So it's nice about the walnut oil too, it dries. So I got it all soaked down and just left it right here on the lathe and came back the next day. It was all ready to go. There we go. It is all done. So again, it's out of maple burl. It's 8 inches across and about 3 inches tall. So it was a fun project. I really like doing carving stuff like this too. It was really just a lot of sanding is what it was. Once you get the basic shape down, it just sanding everything, making sure it's all smooth and clean. But yeah, it's if I didn't have that worm screw in there, it might have been a little bit easier because I could have put it on that like carving stand and it works a lot easier for carving stuff. But it didn't take too long. But yeah, I don't know, I'm going to say 8, 10 hours. I worked on it, every day for a little bit, just working on little bits of it. But super fun project. I love the maple burl. That little rotary tool that I used on this. So it works fantastic to get stuff cleaned up. Once you get the basic shape down, just getting everything cleaned up and shaped, you can really do some refining stuff with it. And like I was saying in the video too, the Arbor Tech, you can get really close with that. It's a big 3 or 3.5 inch wheel on that thing, but you'd be amazed on how detailed you can get with that. So with those two tools right there, it really made it pretty easy, but fun project. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Everybody take care, and we will see you next time.